Okay, class, we're looking today at two terms, a priori and a posteriori. I want you to make sure you add these two words to your notes. Here's the first one. The a in this comes from the Latin. A means without. So in this case, it is without prior knowledge or without experience. The other one is a posteriori. An a posteriori argument or claim is one made after experience or after observation. So a priori is without observation. A posteriori is after observation. This is an important distinction in philosophy because all arguments can be broken into one of these two categories. Did the argument require experience and observation, or was it made with pure logic? And philosophers would love for all arguments to be a priori. We would like to think that the entire world could be understood purely through logical means. Partly because a posteriori, since it relies on observation, there's a tiny chance that it could be wrong because our observations are slightly unreliable. Just because I observed it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen that exact same way every time. And that's an important thing to remember. We're going to get into in the next unit about how our observations, our perceptions can be unreliable. Sometimes our senses fool us. And that affects all a posteriori arguments because they all come from our observations. So let's talk about a couple examples. You're going to have an assignment coming up. You're going to be given a whole list of claims. And for every single statement, you have to decide whether it's a priori or a posteriori. Was it made just based on logic, or was it made based on observation and experience? So if you think back to the last unit, all the deductive forms that you were doing, there was an argument about human societies. It said, premise one, all human societies are doomed to deteriorate over time. Now, how do I know that? Is it because I've observed human societies and I've seen it happen? Or is it because I just understand how humans work? And if I just know how humans work and it's just natural for human societies to deteriorate, that's a priori. And then you move on to the second premise. It says America is a human society. Well, I know what America is, so I don't have to go and observe America. I don't have to visit America to know that it's a human society because I know what it is. Oop, hang on, lights. I wish you wouldn't do that in the middle of a video. So that's an a priori argument. The whole argument that concludes that America is going to deteriorate over time, it's made without observation. I don't need it. I just have to know how humans work and what America is. There was one about a famous one. An example of a priori is to state that a bachelor is an unmarried man. I don't have to go and meet that bachelor to know that he's unmarried because that's what it means to be a bachelor. All right, so that's an a priori statement. The weather, on the other hand, will always be a posteriori. I can't tell you that it's raining outside without going to check, which is an observation or an experience, or checking the weather. And what did the weatherman do? He uses observation and experience. It's all digital. Not him personally observing, but all their tracking of cloud systems and all that. That's based on observation. So checking the weather or saying something about the weather is always going to be a posteriori. It's always after making an observation. All right, so a big one that's really divisive that'll help you understand these two terms is the sun going to come up tomorrow? Now, I can say that the sun has risen. How old am I now? 40 years old, 365 times 40. I've seen a lot of sunrises. Well, I didn't personally see them, but the sun has risen every day my entire life. So that's a while. That's a lot of sunrises. So I can assume, based on that observation and experience, that it's going to rise tomorrow morning. And I'm right. It's going to rise. We know that it's going to rise tomorrow. That would be an a posteriori claim. The sun is going to rise tomorrow if I'm basing that claim on my own personal experience. Now, if I were to say that I know the sun's going to rise tomorrow because I understand that the universe or our solar system is a circle, and that the Earth is constantly spinning and rotating around the sun, and because the Earth is spinning on its axis, I'm going to rotate around every single day, every 24 hours, and I'm going to see that sunrise. That's an understanding of how the world works. I'm never at any point going to observe the Earth spinning around. That's not something we can really observe from our standpoint. But I understand how the solar system works and how the universe works. At least that part of it. So I can, from an a priori perspective, I can make the claim that the sun's going to rise tomorrow. But both ways, I'm using a different kind of rationale, a different kind of basis for my argument. So that's what you need to think about. Did I have to make observations? Did I have to have experience to come to this knowledge? Or am I able to use logic and reasoning to come to that knowledge? All right, a posteriori or a priori. Good luck.